Welcome back to the Marketing Hotline. You just have me, your host, Kelsey, today, and I'm going to be talking about how not to suck at email marketing. How not to suck. Does that make sense? So, I'm going to be sharing 5 tips that I want you to listen to and incorporate if you're looking to elevate your email marketing efforts. So, whether you are just starting your email list and you're looking for some strategies on how to make this work, how to make this a key growth strategy for your business or for your brand, or maybe you don't even have an email list, and this might be the catalyst that gives you the confidence and the courage to go start it. But it is essential for you to start building your list because, with social media, we're relying on algorithms. And sometimes the algorithm can decide that they don't like your content, so they're not going to show it to anyone. And therefore, your messages are falling on deaf ears. But with an email list, if you get somebody's email address, if they give you permission to send them an email, then you will constantly be able to communicate with that person, chat with them until they unsubscribe. And hopefully they never do. So let's get into 5 tips on how not to suck at email marketing. So the first tip is to send emails at a regular cadence. So one of the mistakes that I see, and it's a way that you can be really bad at email marketing, is to only slide into somebody's inbox when you have a promotion or when you're trying to sell them something or when you're enrolling people in your course, okay? This is not the time to be sliding into people's email inboxes. Well, it is the time, but it cannot be the only time. So, what I want you to do is, in thinking about your email marketing strategy, how often are you going to send out email communications? And please do it at a regular cadence. So, you could do it daily, you could do it weekly, you could do it bi-weekly, you could do it monthly, or maybe there's something else that makes sense with your business. Like one of my clients does Monday, Wednesday, Friday because their communities like a lot of touch points, right? So, whatever you choose, make sure it's realistic. So, if you still work a full time job, don't choose a daily email if you can't keep up with that. Maybe you start with monthly. Like one of my clients, she has a newsletter that goes out with new recipes and tips on the first of every month. And her community really looks forward to that. Sure, it's only once a month or 12 times a year, but people love getting the newsletter. So I want you to pick that regular cadence, figure out what works best in your world. I follow a marketer named Seth Godin, and he sends out a daily email, right? So there's no right or wrong here. It just has to be communicated up front so that there are no surprises in your community's inbox. So that's tip number 1, is to pick a regular cadence. Tip number 2 is to experiment. So, like a scientist, I want you to experiment with your email marketing. Sometimes the experiment blows up, other times it's a massive success, and we have a really great discovery. So, here's the thing, not all email lists thrive on the same type of content, right? So some people, they have really wordy emails, like 500, 1,000, 2,000 words, and their community loves that because they're talking about a study or case study and describing all the metrics and details. There's no visuals, it's just text heavy, and that's the style of their email. Whereas for other lists, like say a clothing brand, there's barely any words, but it's all visual. Maybe there's little GIFs or moving images where you can actually see someone like twirling in the dress that you're trying to sell. So that's just to show you that not all lists thrive on the same type of content. So I really want you to experiment with the types of emails you're sending. You can experiment with long text emails, short text emails. You can experiment adding visuals, right? So having a nice banner, having photos of your products. You can have just like aesthetics and different color blocks throughout the email. There's lots of websites, including one called Flowdesk, where you can host emails that are more visual heavy, or something like Active Campaign would be more for text-based emails. Um, but then you can also experiment. Do you want to tell stories in your email? Do you want to share tools and be more educational? So, teaching like, here's how to set your goals for January. And then you walk them through an exercise. So, more of a workshop style email. Or maybe your emails are a personal update. That's great too. Or perhaps a roundup of what's going on in your industry, right? All of those are great ideas. You need to find what your subscribers are looking for. How not to suck at email marketing tip number 3 is to ask for a response or reply and treat it as a conversation, not a shouting match. So, oftentimes when people send emails, all they're doing is just sharing updates, shouting at their subscribers, but they're not actually interested in entering into a conversation, or they're not making that apparent. So, what I want you to do is to make sure that your email feels like it's conversational, like somebody is allowed or invited to reply. That can mean adding a call to action at the bottom. Like, for example, I just sent out an email inviting people to a training that I am hosting at 12 p.m. today. And at the bottom, I said, reply with the word I'm in if you'd like to join. So it guides the reader to the next step, right? That's the call to action. Or you can have a call to action that's click through to my YouTube channel to learn more about how to bake without dairy. So I want you to ask for the response, ask for a reply, or treat your emails as an engaging conversation. Don't be afraid to make it conversational and to lead the reader to the logical next spot. If you don't, you're just kind of shouting a message and then like ending the conversation there, right? And that's not how we want to treat it in most cases. How not to suck at email marketing tip number 4 is to make sure you have a kick ass subject lines. So I want to read a little quote from the HubSpot blog here. They say subject lines are similar to calls to action in that you want the language to inspire people to click open the email. Subject lines that begin with certain action verbs tend to be a lot more enticing, and your emails can be dramatically more clickable by adding a vibrant verb at the beginning. Actionable subject lines will inspire people to click on your email by instilling urgency and excitement. So they give an example here that a subject line could be Dine with Bruins legend Bobby Orr. And the former email uses dine to help the reader envision themselves at the dinner table. So something actionable. And again, I just read that paragraph from the HubSpot blog. They have a blog all about improving your email subject lines. But it could say, join our training with a 6-figure entrepreneur, or instantly improve your copywriting. So try to make your subject line catchy, because people do judge an email in their inbox by what the subject line is, right? It's like judging a book by its cover, but in the email world, we judge an email by what we can see in our inbox when we open our Gmail or wherever you check your emails. So make sure you are using that very valuable real estate in the most effective way. I love to use an app called Jarvis.ai. I've taught an entire training on this topic. It's using artificial intelligence to create email subject lines. And if you're interested, I do have a link for you in the show notes for getting 10,000 free words written for your brand using artificial intelligence. So try to play around with subject lines. If you're using Jarvis, they'll spit out great subject lines for you with just a few details about what your email is. If you're not using Jarvis, just read some blogs, start studying emails, and really understand what a good subject line entails. So that's tip number 4. And tip number 5 on how to not suck at email marketing is to suck right off the bat. Anyone who starts an email list is not going to be a master at it right away. Okay. So give yourself permission to be really bad, to send some emails that you're like, oh, I don't think this is the best, but practice makes perfect in this scenario. So again, keep doing it. You'll get better at time. The only way to not suck at email marketing is to start somewhere, start where you're at, and to possibly be sucky for a little bit. If I can just say that straight up, be sucky. When I look back at my emails from 5 or 6 years ago, I do cringe a little bit. It's like, oh my God, who wrote that? That can't be me. Did I really talk that way? But at the same token, I can then compare to where I'm at today and realize the only way that I improved my email marketing was to keep doing it. I've sent out a weekly or a twice weekly email for almost 5 or 6 years now, and they're not perfect still, even after 5 years, but they're getting better. So the only way to not suck at email marketing is to start by sucking at it. And that goes with anything in life, right? You're never going to jump in and be the expert at anything. There's always something to learn. There's always an area to improve upon. So that's the final tip. So I hope you enjoyed these 5 tips for how to not suck at email marketing, and good luck with your next campaign.